Hey, church leaders, today we're diving into a fundamental topic for understanding how to effectively lead a church towards sustained health. And I want to talk about the typical life cycle of every church. Understanding each phase and the next steps towards health are key to getting your church unstuck. But before we get into the video, take a minute to hit the subscribe button. Here at the Unstuck Group, our goal is to help pastors grow healthy churches by guiding them to align vision, strategy, team, and action. With every tool and process we develop, our priority is to help churches help people meet and follow Jesus. We're here to help you get your church unstuck. Subscribe now so you don't miss a video. Launch is the first phase in the typical life cycle of a church. This is the starting line. Everything is new. There will be a focus on reaching new people, a heavy reliance on volunteer engagement. There are few roles, and the finances are typically very tight. The keys to healthy growth in this stage include clarifying who you're trying to reach, why you exist, that's your mission, and how you're going to engage your ministry. Those are your core strategies. To survive beyond launch, you'll need a strong financial plan, and you'll need to equip volunteers to do ministry. Next up is momentum growth. This may be the most exciting season in the life cycle of a church. People start showing up and inviting their friends. Growth seems to happen supernaturally. As churches begin to experience momentum growth, they need to make space, preferably by adding a new service and not a new building or campus at this point. The church also needs to define their vision. That picture of the future that both rallies people and, frankly, will repel some people, that also includes developing team values and deciding what kind of culture you want to create for your church. Phase 3, this is strategic growth, and it's typically when you create teams, establish simple, repeatable systems to reinforce healthy behaviors, and clarify structure to support even more growth into the future. With a clear vision, you need to build a strategy to accomplish it, including a discipleship path, so that ministry activities don't distract from the mission. We want more people to become more like Jesus. To move forward, the structure of the church staff needs to reflect the church's ministry strategy, and leadership development should be your core focus. We found that healthy churches empower healthy leaders. The pinnacle of the life cycle is sustained health, and my prayer is that every church will reach and stay in this phase. This is when the ministry is unified in mind and purpose. You embrace the tension between vision and systems. You straddle that fine line between outreach and spiritual formation. And growth continues both in numbers and with more people accepting Christ and engaging in discipleship. In order to continue to multiply, the church will need to prioritize unity and mobilize others to embrace the changes that are needed to get new results. Phase 5 is the maintenance phase, and this is when attendance begins to plateau or decline and the vision starts to stall. The church becomes insider-focused and overstaffed. And this is the beginning of decline, even though finances often remain very strong. To get back to health, you need to renew vision and embrace change before an emergency really forces that change. An outside perspective is usually necessary at this point. The ministry has experienced success over time, and you'll be fighting an insider focus and ministry complexity. You're probably going to need to prune some current ministry programs to make room for the renewed vision. Next comes the preservation phase, and this is when attendance and giving really begin to decline. Methods have become more important than mission, and the focus has shifted to keeping people from leaving. A church leader has to realize during this phase, change demands intentional leadership. It's impossible to keep everyone happy and experience the changes that will be required to return to health. You'll have to create a sense of urgency and address the warning signs of decline before it's too late. The 7th and final stage in the typical church life cycle is life support. And this phase is usually marked by an unwillingness to change, a financial crisis, or just an overall collapse in the church's mission. And once a church has reached the life support phase, it can no longer survive without some sort of relaunch. Ultimately, there must be a consensus that the church will never drift back to health, and that a new plan of action is required. Churches can get stuck in any season of this life cycle, and that's why it's important to determine what season are we in and then intentionally interrupt it. Without that interruption, the church will remain stuck, the natural pull will always be towards decline, and eventually you'll experience death as a ministry. However, with the combination of proactive leadership and prayer, it's possible for a church in any season to find sustained health again. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. If this topic is something you found interesting and would like to dive deeper into, I wrote an entire book about this topic called The Unstuck Church, which will be linked in the description. And if you found this video helpful and would like to see more like this in the future, make sure to hit the subscribe button. You can learn more about how we help churches get unstuck at theunstuckgroup.com.